Is Barça slowly regaining their old fortunes?
This could be the hat-trick for Rafinha! It is! Baldi with a cross, Lewandowski with a header, it's 2-0! Robert Lewandowski has scored 2 goals in 2 minutes! Lamine Yamal into the roof of the net! He scored his first goal in a Clásico!
Is there any club in the world that takes its fans through more emotional roller coasters than Barcelona? Being a Catalan supporter is certainly no easy task. It's a miracle what the fans have put up with over the last 15 years. From the best team we've ever seen to another unbelievably strong side with the most electric attacking trio of all time, to the biggest financial crisis in their history, to the worst Champions League humiliations, and now back to the brink of greatness with a brand new coach and revitalized squad. And that is exactly what we're going to focus on today as we analyze whether Barça is slowly returning to the good old days. Or is their excellent form just a 3-month miracle? Sit back and enjoy. And while the team's current form has Barça fans dreaming of a treble or a Champions League title, what better way to start off this story than with last season when the Catalans won Europe's most coveted trophy? The 2014-15 season was a brilliant one for Barcelona, who won the European treble of La Liga, the Copa del Rey, and the Champions League, beating Juventus 3-1 in the final. Now, close your eyes and imagine a graph in your head. Yes, a simple graph with ups and downs, with the start of the graph being the 2014-15 season. What do you see? Well, you're probably visualizing a red line in front of you, gradually moving downwards, with slight increases in 2018 and 2019, and then a sharp decline from 2020 to the present day. Exactly, this is Barça's fall from grace over the last 10 years. And if we were to imagine the individual frames that make up this long period, we would probably see the millions that went down the drain for the likes of Philippe Coutinho, Ousmane Dembélé, and Antoine Griezmann. We could also imagine some heavy defeats and catastrophic moments, such as the 8-2 thrashing at the hands of Bayern Munich, the 4-1 defeat against PSG, the nightmares against Liverpool and Roma, or perhaps some heartbreaks such as the departure of Leo Messi, Luis Suarez, Andres Iniesta, Ivan Rakitic, and why not even Sergio Busquets? Yes, you are right. Barca's recent history is certainly one to forget, but as the old saying goes, there is always light at the end of the tunnel. And that light may have just come. It all started at the end of last season, when Xavi was on the verge of signing a new contract, only to leave and be replaced by Hansi Flick, the same man who was responsible for one of the biggest nightmares in Barcelona's history. Interestingly, according to The Athletic, Hansi Flick has been closely monitored by Joan Laporta since that humiliation against Bayern Munich, even though Laporta wasn't president at the time. He had already drawn up his preliminary plan before proposing his candidacy a few months later. And now, 3 years on, Laporta can truly be described as the man who saved Barça. Let's go back to the graph we talked about. If we had to define the absolute lowest point in it, it would certainly be 2020 to 2021. At that time, Barça were struggling like never before. They couldn't pay the wages of players and coaches, the team wasn't working properly, and Barcelona hadn't won a single trophy. Since taking over, however, every single step, and we repeat, every single step, has been brilliantly executed. In these almost 4 years, it is hard to find a single major mistake in the Joan Laporta era. Firstly, the appointment of Xavi Hernandez was a 10 out of 10 move, as he knew the club and its dynamics like none other. And he was also familiar enough with the La Masia Academy. He was also the man who gave Gavi and Alejandro Balde a permanent place in the first team, and then went on to develop other top talents such as Lamine Yamal and Pau Cubarsí. The other excellent long-term decision that laid the foundations for Hansi Flick was the summer of 2022, when Laporta brought in Robert Lewandowski, Rafinha, and Jules Koundé for a total of 150 million euros combined. Some smart additions who have now cashed in their investments several times due to their form and the impact that they have over Barca's current squad. But more on them in a minute. And of course, the incredible economic decisions that Laporta has made to get Barcelona on the upward trajectory that we haven't seen in almost a decade. The financial levers that Barcelona had to pull have been the necessary sacrifice to be able to compete for trophies. but also to usher in a new era that could eventually return the club to its former glory. At the moment, Barça are in the best financial shape they've been in for half a decade, and things are only going to get better. Firstly, there is a speculation that Barcelona have agreed to a new deal with Nike that will see them receive a €150 million signing bonus and over $100 million each year, making it the biggest endorsement deal in the history of sports. This is all speculation at the moment, but given the success and the great kits that Nike has been making for Barcelona for over 25 years, logic suggests that nothing could stop the deal from being renewed. Another reason for the upcoming improvement in finances is the move back to the renovated Camp Nou. According to the latest reports, this will happen in February or March 2025, when the new stadium will be around 70% complete. The 100% capacity of the Camp Nou, which is expected to be around 103,000 seats, is expected to be completed by the end of the 2025-26 season. The return of the Camp Nou will, of course, bring greater benefits to the club in terms of higher ticket prices, as well as increased capacity compared to the Olympic Stadium, where Barça currently play their home games. Having said all that, Barça are indeed in a great position in all departments. But let's focus on the most important condition for the Catalan Giants to regain their old fortunes, and that is their style of play. At the moment, Barça are arguably the best team in the world that scores goals for fun, and they recently scored 13 times in 6 days in one of the toughest weeks in their modern history, beating Sevilla 5-1, Bayern Munich 4-1, and arch-rivals Real Madrid 4-0 in their own backyard. These thrilling results have undoubtedly raised the expectations of Barcelona's supporters, but the fact is that these hopes are only growing with each game as this team gets better and better every week. Yes, the main man responsible for this is Hansi Flick. He has transformed Barcelona from a club with great potential to the team in the best form of the last 3 months. In 14 games so far in the 2024-25 season, Barça have scored 47 goals, an average of 3.35 per game, and conceded just 13, which speaks volumes about their defensive work. And while the big story of the campaign has been the attack, with everyone talking about the incredible trio of Robert Lewandowski, Lamine Yamal, and Rafinha, let's focus on the defense, which, to be honest, is no less impressive. Upon his arrival in the summer, Hansi Flick himself stated that he had learned from Johan Cruyff's philosophy and that Barcelona's ideology was not new to him. Many questioned these words, coming from a coach who had never had anything to do with Barca's decades-old positional play. But after a few games, everyone realized exactly what Flick meant. To put it simply, when talking about Johan Cruyff's style of defending of his dream team from the 1990s, the Dutch maestro has always maintained that the striker is the first defender and the goalkeeper is the first attacker. This may sound difficult to understand, but it is actually quite simple. In Johan Cruyff's ideology, every player on the pitch should be responsible for both defending and attacking. This adds fluidity and versatility in attack, but also means more solidity in defense. And especially important to him is his defensive phase. To make that as effective as possible, he uses what is known as press on heavy touch, which means that if the ball is lost, the players in the middle of the park must win it back as quickly as possible to prevent the opposition from counterattacking. And this is exactly the strategy that Hansi Flick has implemented at Barça. The extra spice added by the German, however, is the ultra-high defensive line and the offside trap that has made Real Madrid so vulnerable. The biggest victim in El Clasico was Kylian Mbappe, who was caught offside 8 times, a record for his career. What is most impressive, however, is the intensity with which the Barça players defend during press. Rafinha is the undisputed number 1 in this regard, having clocked up the most kilometers in the press since the start of the season. Lamine Yamal and Pedri are also up there, with both looking physically different since Flick took over. And when you mention these three, you can't help but discuss the team's completely transformed attack. And before we go any further, the most impressive thing is that the players are exactly the same, but it is Flick's new attacking structure that is working wonders. Scoring an average of 3 goals per game over a 3-month period. Well, call me crazy, but I haven't seen anything like this since the Messi, Suarez, and Neymar days, which is like 10 years ago? And while Yamal was expected to perform like this, given his incredible potential and the fantastic way he finished last season at the Euros. He seems the least surprising of the three up front. But Rafinha, oh my. The Brazilian has already scored as many goals as he did in his previous 2 seasons at Barça, but in 30 fewer games. This is simply unreal. And add to those 10 goals the 7 assists he has provided. Just unbelievable. As for Lewandowski, the 36-year-old striker is like 25 again, scoring just like he did at Bayern and Dortmund. But you know what's most interesting? He has 19 goal involvements in 14 games so far, as he has had such figures in only one other season in his career. And that's the glorious 2019-20 treble-winning campaign under Hansi Flick. It seems he just loves working with the German specialist. The incredible results could hardly have gotten any better after Barcelona just completed one of the strongest weeks in their modern history. However, it remains to be seen whether Flick will be able to maintain this level of excellence, and how he will deal in a time of crisis that is sure to come sooner or later. Yes, it's scary to think how hard it will be to stop them this season, and it gets even scarier when you consider that they're still playing without their best defender, Ronald Araujo, and without Gavi, Dani Olmo, and Frenkie de Jong being 100% fit. Feel free to share your thoughts on Barca's new era in the comment section down below. Also, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to support us by hitting the subscribe and like buttons below.